The third option, which is basically what I've been predicting also, the guys have to start a war. And I've been saying that they'll probably get the war started by the end of the second quarter of this year. Now, I'm giving you some dates. And the reason is to get everybody diverted away from it and then also then hide all the money.
Well, what about the idea that other countries were buying actually the treasury bills of the United States government, which is us paying the interest on our debt, and that suddenly they're no longer doing that, so
the
Federal Reserve is buying it? Does that make any sense?
No, the feds themselves are buying it, or basically monetizing it, but there's no interest on it. So all we're doing then is causing the dollar. We have two things. We can either go into hyperinflation or deflation. Deflation is happening because all the stores right now have big notes that are due. They were due in January. And these notes, because they borrowed money in order to merge, i.e. like Kmart and Sears merged together, where'd they get the money? They got it off of the derivative market, which allowed them to have this money. But all these things are coming up to the plate and say, hey, we want to get paid for the interest. So all the stores across the country right now are having huge sales, 60, 70% off.
Okay.
Now, that gives them the cash to pay the interest to them. The only problem is we're not having anything to replace the goods. And these people are deeply in debt, and that's where part of the commercial market is going to have what I call the upside down or further collapse of our country. I'm suggesting everybody make sure you get your food stored up if you can right now. I was urging people to get in gold and silver, but delivery right now is 2 to 3 months out right now. American Eagles, the government suspended making them for about 2 weeks as they went to the 2009 editions. And so they're back online now, but the orders are so heavy because people know that's your storage of wealth. I'm not going to tell you what you can do with it later because I expect gold to jump to 2,500 or maybe even higher, as some of the people are saying, because it's the only storage of wealth that we have. Real estate's collapsing all around the country. The tax situations are going to go up. That's the only way they can continue the game or taking money from people. And there's no more jobs out here. Nobody's buying anything.
Right. Well, what about this tax situation? My accountant, he said they're auditing like crazy right now, sole proprietorships. And that's really strange. Those people don't make any real money.
Now, here's what the problem is. There's a lot of people that have told you to watch the television and say, let's go on the internet and we're going to start selling everything on eBay. eBay, all of the MasterCard, Visa, the suppliers now are going to provide 1099s to all the little individuals. So in other words, you sold on eBay, there's going to be a 1099. That's going to, quote, generate cash flow going back here so they can find another way to tax it. Meanwhile, the municipalities where they are now going to go back in and ask for licensing. You understand? And that's another form of taxes.
Okay, right. Business licenses, that's
right. Business licensing, they're going to do that. They're going to go into the same thing, and they're going to be looking at the whole thing of the money. My prediction is that they're getting ready at this minute. Remember, I told you I have a copy of the World Cash Card. They're going to just stop everything, and you're going to go down to the post office and register, and they already have the rules in place, and that's to get everybody to fall in line, setting up. At the same time they do this, they got to get the war going. That's the reason why I'm saying we're just weeks, if not days, away from this total meltdown that's going to happen, Carrie.
Well, what about the Baltic Dry Index that's gone down like 93%? We understand that there might be a lag time between the fact that it went down, I don't know, in January, whatever it was, and
Sure.
that there'll be a lag time between that indicator and then the actual fact that nothing appears in the store because no ships are delivering any goods.
Yeah, here's the problem, and again, I've been talking to my bankers. We have all kinds of ships with goods right now. These are offshore. They have not landed. There's huge ships full of oil, for instance. Now, they all ship on letter of credits. In other words, the people that ship the goods and say, okay, it's shipped, I want to get paid for it, banks issue them letter of credit, so when they deliver it, well, they can't even deliver it now because Homeland Security or the bank that issued the letter of credit has gone under. Now, none of this is good, but I'm just telling you what the facts are coming down. And they've been well planned. They've been doing it for like 60 years or 70 years. We have a new book coming out. Gets old information that shows how they've been planning this, given dates, times, and everything. And all our so-called elected officials are all a part of the conspiracy. AIG went into bankruptcy, right? How come it got immediately taken care of? This insurance? You know why? All the pensions from all of the congressmen are there. They're going to cover themselves. The American people are just As we used to say, expendable containers. They don't care if you march on Washington. They're just the rabble in the streets. But we're going to start to the next phase. And I'm predicting within the next, you're asking time again, within the next 2 months, because of this slowdown I just told you in March and everything, you're going to start having a lot more rioting and more everything going in the streets. That's to bring it in so we can have civil control. And they're putting in executive orders right now claiming that people over age 60 can't even bear arms because they're too sick and they won't be able to aim correctly or do something.
We were just listening to Lindsey Williams, and he's talking about the fact that gun sales went up incredibly right after the election. That people in America are basically, Americans, when push comes to shove, they're going to get their guns and defend their territory and all this craziness, right?
Well, they're going to try to do that. What they don't tell you, that immediately then is registered everybody that has a gun. They're going to come, and again, Obama's has this executive order. You'll have it out in a few days. They'll tell you about it. What they're going to start doing is saying, can you have the gun? And when the basis of it, if you do defend yourself, will you be charged with murder? The other thing they don't tell you is where are the bullets made. All the bullets in the United States are made in other countries for all these guns.
Right, okay.
The only exception is the police under their special weapons they have. In each of the main cities, they have some special weapons, these special bullets that are made here in the United States, but most of them are made in other countries. So when this comes down, sure, you may temporarily have some, but they're prepared for all of this mobilization under the FEMA rules and under the acts that they have set up in motion right at this minute. We're just coming very close to the total meltdown of the system as we know it, and how can people get prepared? Like I say, you can't get any gold or silver anymore. It's pretty tough. If there's a coin show or something out there, try to get it. But the option market is so manipulated right now when they tell you to buy all this stuff. It's not even, there isn't anything behind it.
We've got an article here that is talking about a summer of rage over the recession in the UK. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, well, it's happening not only the UK, but it's other countries too.
There's sort of like this idea that this might be, the summer from hell, where we've got the unemployment rate right now in California, I hear, is over 9%.
Terry, remember what I told you before. Figures don't lie, but liars figure.
Okay, right.
Just remember that. When you come down to the true unemployment, you check with the state of California. It's the people that are drawing unemployment benefits. After you've used up the benefits, you're considered employed. How many people who are not getting any benefits at all that are unemployed?
That's true. A lot of people have turned away from the whole unemployment scene because they're trying to, make money on their own, small businesses, that sort of thing.
Well, everybody has to be very creative at this minute, and that's what we're looking at. How do we get back in understanding barter? How do we, live off the grid, so to speak? I think the little book that we have, The Patriots, he has gone into great detail. This is a captain in the Army come out, and he set up a little book that told everybody on how to survive on all these things and get ready for it. But you got to get away from major cities. I mean, they're going to be chaotic because people you got enough gas to go, maybe 100 miles. Well, how are you going to get out of town when the highways are shut down?
Do you agree with this idea that what is being intended on the agenda of the elite, basically the Illuminati, is to bankrupt the Arab nations right now by making the price of gas so low?
Well, it's a combination. It wants to bring these people under so they come back to the dollar being the best currency. Remember, that was agreed a long time ago that the dollar would be the one to be used to keep track of all of the oil trades throughout the world. Well, we got a lot of countries now that say no. And so what they're trying to do is drive it down, whatever they sell it, because all these countries now have been living on the high, selling oil at over $100 a barrel. And frankly, it has to be up at $80 a barrel in order to cover the current expenses for people throughout the world. And so what you are talking about is, where is the oil? There's lots of tankers out there that are sitting out there full of oil right now, because we're not consuming the oil like we did. All these businesses are coming down. Even the printing industry, when you look at, the newspaper, how many ads are out there? All these things you're talking about are all interconnected.